Alright, what up, world? Hemingway checking in, and I am still at it. You already know the drill. Before we get into it, make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube page, ring the notification bell so you get all the notifications for my videos I have coming out later this week. And we're gonna go ahead and get into this thing. So, the topic of today is making it after 30. And I immediately go to like breaking it down to two things. So, what is making it to you or to the individual? That would be what the person needs to ask themselves. What is making it? Because it varies. Making it is completely different as you go person to person, artist to artist, creator to creative, just, you know, human to human. Making it is completely different. And then my second question would be, is it as wild as everybody thinks to accomplish musical goals and career goals, like, you know, after 30? I don't know why it's such a stigma on it, and I think sometimes people have to realize that, as particularly in hip-hop and R&B, well, in hip-hop, because R&B is not as bad as hip-hop, but they kind of run, you know, simultaneously, so, or side by side. So but with hip hop in particular, like, as it's just hit 50 years, as it goes on to see another 50 years, you're gonna have artists that are achieving success as full-time artists a little bit later in age. And I think that when you look back on it, when it started out, and I've said this in other videos, it's always gonna be like the core voice of the youth for the most part. But as it ages, you're gonna have categories and, you know what I'm saying, age brackets where people make hip hop and it makes sense because it's age appropriate and age relatable music. So with that being said, it's like even going back to 2 Chainz, he had been in the industry already, and then he revamped himself from Titty Boy to 2 Chainz, but he was already in his early 30s, like 32, 33 or something, when the 2 Chainz era started to now. So he's been around, obviously, for the last 10 years on this 2 Chainz run, 10 plus years. But he was one of them. A lot of people always would talk about Jay from back in the day when he really first dropped. He was like 26. That's under 30, but that was later in the game, considering that everybody would be on or would have made it prior to 25. You know, then you have a lot of, particularly with R&B, you've had a lot of artists here lately that have, or R&B slash pop. I think Lucky Day was 32. I think Anderson .Paak was 30. I think Sir was 32. His brother D Smoke, he was 31 when he was on the what was the show? I always forget the show with Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, T.I., the rap show. So when he won that, he was in his early 30s. Like, it's been a lot of artists that are finding success at or after the age of 30, and it's really becoming more of a common thing, because sometimes it takes more time for people versus whatever other moves that were to be made. Like, sometimes it's just the time that it needed to take that long. And, you know, yeah, a lot of people think of, especially with those two genres, a lot of people think that it's supposed to be just like, if any genre is a microwave genre, like, I would definitely say with hip hop and to some degree R&B, people think that it's just supposed to just boom, boom, boom. And that's not how it works. People understand, and especially creatives in other genres, they understand that you've been at your craft for a long period of time, whether you started young or whether you started late. Like, it's just a different stigma with music versus acting or something like that. With acting, it's more common for people to be a little older, you know, 35, and really just get their first gig, even though on that person's come up, it's in everyday life, it seems wild to be like, oh, you still trying to be an actor at this age? But when you hear people's story about when they made it, they usually were older in a lot of cases. If they weren't, you know, if you weren't a child actor, you pretty much didn't make it until you were a legit adult, like in your early 30s. So with music, different stigma. If you out here trying to chase music dreams, especially with R&B and hip hop, you get looked at crazy in the community for the most part. Well, not within the community, not within the creative community, but just by society overall. It's still kind of wild until you find some success and you make it, whatever that is for you, and it starts to look the way you want it to look, and then people start to realize that it's like, oh, okay, this is what this person meant by wanting to be an artist or whatever. We all want to start out being the biggest superstar, crazy superstar in the world, but at the end of the day, when you hit your 30s, if you are still pursuing anything musically in a serious manner, you understand, hopefully you understand that you still can be great, you still can be well known for what you do, but now you usually learn at this point that there's more of a business aspect to it. And with that business aspect, whatever way you approach it from the business aspect and have all your stuff together, there's going to be a demographic that you're going to, you know what I'm saying, you're going to like appeal to. And once you find that demographic, that's just going to be them, going to be your customers. That's going to be your clients. That's going to be who you somewhat cater to, however you make your music. And that's really what it's all about. Like finding your lane, your niche, your customers, your people, whatever, and going from there and growing from there. I think some of the pros about making it after 30 is that hopefully your maturity, kind of kicked in. You ain't really tripping off some of that stuff. Now we still, at the end of the day, making some life-changing money from music. People gonna make mistakes. Let's not get it twisted. I don't always put an age bracket on that type of stuff, but for the most part, you are more focused on actually putting in the work you need to put in to sustain this thing going forward, because you done already worked and had a job and probably have a family and understand what real life is. So to actually achieve your dream or your passion to some degree, you're gonna focus on that and approach that completely differently, I think, in your 30s. And that's why a lot of people that make it afterwards, I think they have an okay time maneuvering however they do, whether it's independent or major or whatever. So what do you think? Tell me your opinions. How do you feel about artists making it after 30? What is making it to you? And if you have been doing this for a long period of time, and from when you were young to now reaching your early 30s, 30 plus, do you have those questions about like how you feel? Should you keep chasing this thing? I know I've had the thoughts. I think everybody thinks it, so I'm just saying what everybody wants to, probably doesn't really feel like saying or doesn't really want to say on the internet. But I'ma say it, like, to be 32 and still chasing to get to a certain level of music is something that I realize at the end of the day, if you're really passionate about it, you're gonna do it for free anyway. So I'm gonna do the music anyway. But I want to actually figure out the music business, make it an income stream for me, if possible. And if I can create a community to do that and build that income stream, it's just another way that I can not only do something I love, but also get a return off of my investment into that thing that I love. And that's simply it. It's just a business model and approach. If I can, and you'd be surprised how many independent artists, older, whatever, 30 plus, because apparently that's old as hell in hip hop and R&B, but still tour the world and just do their thing, just really low key and live their life. Like, they're known, people know them, but like it ain't no crazy lifestyle. Like, more so of the J. Cole lifestyle, even though he's well fucking known. The way he moves around, people don't bother him too much. He get calm fan interactions and stuff like that, or support from people. So, tell me what y'all think. Is it wild to make it after 30? Should you keep pursuing your dreams and your aspirations as a musician? I think you should. That's my whole campaign. I'm still at it. Until next time, I go by the name of Hemingway. I'm out.